So your number 1 seed, Joseph Stempo. There we go. The hat's back. There from yesterday as well. Mardu Pyromancer, he's your 1 seed. Facing off against Zach Elsik, the 8 seed on Ironworks combo.
I hope that that hat is good luck. Or at least grants some other kind of power.
Zach Elsik, of course, ever the brewer, top hitting with Cart Clan Ironworks combo in Modern and Blue-White God Pharaoh's Gift in Standard.
At least when it comes to this matchup, I bet he's pretty happy to be on the Modern deck.
Absolutely. So we start off here. Joe Stempo with the basic Swamp. Now, discards among his best forms of interaction in this matchup.
Yeah, like this Thoughtseize. There are a lot of hands. We'll find out exactly what Elsik has. Where you look at it, it's just a lot of redraws. This time he did get a little bit lucky. You do see an Ironworks in the middle of that hand. I have to imagine that's going to be the take here.
Right. We have Cart Clan Ironworks, Pyrite Spellbomb. We have 2 lands. One of them is an artifact land in Darksteel Citadel. We have Mindstone, Chromatic Sphere, and Terrarian. So 2 baubles, a ramp spell, the finisher, Ironworks, and then Spellbomb. Spellbomb's not particularly great to have in your opener.
Yeah. I mean, in this matchup, actually using the Spellbomb to shock a young Pyromancer is something that can matter. One of the ways you lose is you don't go fast enough and the Pyromancer puts on just enough of a clock.
And Ryan, because there's no cantrips in this hand, I have to agree with you. I would like to take Cart Clan Ironworks out of this as well. What Joseph's trying to do, I think, is look for the best way to slow down Zach. So when you're looking at slowing down the deck, you're either going to take their finisher or you could take their Mind Stone.
Yeah, the mana acceleration, especially if Elsik just draws another Ironworks, that's going to put him ahead on time to go for the combo.
Yeah, the question is which one would be harder to replace. He takes Pyrite Spellbomb. It's not something I expected. That, to me, really sounds like there's a young Pyromancer waiting.
Or a Pyromancer and or a second discard spell.
Exactly. If there's another discard spell in his hand, then he has time. Says, I'll get the Ironworks later. Zach's side, he casts Terrarian. See right here, Joe offered to write down the hand. Zach said he'd pick them up. And Zach's draw was a second copy of Cart Clan Ironworks. And as Stempo makes a young Pyromancer.
Yeah, so Thoughtseize wouldn't have even mattered.
Well, no, this actually might punish him. So if Zach this turn, second land Mind Stone. If Joseph's plan was to on turn 3.
If it is the second discard spell, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he'll see the end. He'll say, wait, you have 2 Ironworks now. Hold on. He could get really punished.
Yeah, definitely. Unless it's 3 discard spells.
That's odd. That would be great.
That would be a lot. There are 4 Thoughtseize in the deck.
Pyromancer swings in, Faithless Looting, draw 2, discard 2.
Well, the other inkling I had is it might be he has Kolaghan's Command and thinks it's enough, but tapping this man at sorcery speed definitely suggests that's not the case.
Yeah, and even if he didn't have the first discard spell in hand, we might see Joseph still take the Spellbomb because against a combo deck, he needs to protect a clock, regardless of what else he has.
You certainly need to get on the table.
Discards a Lingering Souls to the Faithless Looting. Looks like we have a fetch for another land. He might just make an army of 1/1s and cross his fingers. Right now, there's no Scrap Trawler in Zach's hand. I don't believe this turn 3 Ironworks is likely to be lethal. He can make it and just sack the Terrarian and go fishing for the win, but it's not there yet.
In my experience, it's always there
It's
after
always
they draw 1 or 2 cards.
Well, that's what I'd hope for. If his draw step or a draw of Terrarian is a Scrap Trawler, we're off to the races.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Scrap Trawler just gets out of control really quickly. Not to mention there's some infinite loops in this deck.
Yeah. And the draw, Ryan, it was Scrap Trawler.
That is well above average.
Zach will cycle through Chromatic Sphere. That one not great with Cart Clan Ironworks. Far worse than the Star. But here come the mana symbols.
Do we have a 4th mana source?
Oh, no, he can't cast yet. He was searching for the land. He can't make the Cart Clan Ironworks.
You can still go through the Terrarian. Try that way. You're
Well,
lighter on resources when you start, though.
Yeah, if you go through the Terrarian that way, especially because Zach doesn't have a Mox Opal going on yet, then even if he finds the land off the Terrarian, it's not a sure thing. He's going to do that. It's still the right play. Now red-green floating draws us. He'd really like to find that land. And it's another Terrarian. He's going to have to reset and try again next turn.
Yeah, so on this turn, spend some mana, have a couple redraws, very likely to be able to set up for the following turn.
It's not too bad. He has both Ichor, Wellspring, and Terrarian, and another Terrarian in hand. So 3 mana this turn might just mean to make a couple baubles, try again. We also see Zach. Here's Engineered Explosives on 0.
Yeah, and even if you weren't already threatening to combo on the following turn, this buys a lot of time.
Terrarian, crack Engineered Explosives, says go. Remember that with Scrap Trawler, Zach can, if Joseph makes another army of tokens, Zach can repeat this.
Yep. In the graveyard, X is 0.
Yeah.
Sacrificing anything with at least 1 converted mana cost, the Scrap Trawler, that'll trigger, X is less than 1.
Ironworks does not have too many value lines outside of the combo. Scrap Trawler, Engineered Explosives, however, is one of the things it can do to buy itself extra turns.
Yep. Gives you a lot of play against many of the creature decks. Tons of play against decks like Affinity, Hexproof.
Swing puts Zach to 16, and he is so close. With Trawler, 2 KCIs, it's just a land.
In a lot of matchups, Stempo spending the turn here, flashing back either Faithless Looting, just spinning the tires a little bit would be fine, but this is not one of those matchups.
Another thing we could see, if Zach really wants to get value-oriented with Scrap Trawler, he can just buy back that Pyrite Spellbomb, take care of Young Pyromancer, and move on with the game.
Yeah, he's not really in a rush.
Yeah, there's not too much pressure on his life total. Zach will spend 3 of the 4 mana to flashback Faithless Looting. Maybe if he finds a Thoughtseize, he could cast here. We will see. Looks like Fatal Push in his hand. However, because he cracked that fetch land before Faithless Looting, Fatal Push is not going to be useful here. Won't be able to take down Scrap Trawler. As a result, he discards it.
Even when it can hit a Scrap Trawler, how much have you really accomplished?
Medium. it's not your preferred play.
Yeah.
Zach misses the land drop, but it looks like he found Ancient Stirrings, which should be good enough to get the land drop, but he's going to fish for it first by cracking Terrarian, because if he hits it naturally here, he can still combo.
Yep.
And he does, Darksteel Citadel. Let's see if he goes for it.
And it's an artifact land, which happens to be very good with Core Clan Ironworks.
It's a lot of mana in play right now for Zach. He makes KCI. We'll see if he needs to go for the combo. This is not the safest combo at the moment.
And the pressure's not really there, especially because of the backup Ironworks.
Yeah, if he wants to go for it, here's how we start. We sacrifice both Citadels, make Scrap Trawler, sacrifice Mind Stone, 3 mana floating, get back Terrarian, continue.
Do that kind of stuff for a while.
I mean, he does have Ichor Wellspring in hand. I actually think it's good enough, and we're going to go for that. So buckle up. This is going to be one of those draw the whole deck combo turns.
Yep.
So 2 colorless, makes Ichor Wellspring, draws a card. And because he's doing this without making Scrap Trawler, it's unclear whether this is a setup turn or a combo turn. He's leaving himself multiple outs depending on what happened with that draw. And he'll keep going, 2 more colorless. Down to 1 for Chromatic Sphere. That one less good than Star, mentioning here.
Yeah, with the Star, you can actually sacrifice it for the mana and still get the draw card because they're separate abilities.
So no card here, but he does sacrifice it anyway. Makes Scrap Trawler, no mana floating, but here we go. Ichor Wellspring, 2 mana. It's a 2. He'll buy back a 1 and draw a card. Ichor Wellspring is great during the combo turns.
And this is where we find out just how patient of a person Joe Stempo is.
Yep. Terrarian is one of your best ones here. Chromatic Star, Terrarian pretty interchangeable during the combo turn.
Yep.
And because Zach does have a 0, that Engineered Explosives, what that'll give him during the combo turn is just a lot of extra colorless mana. He'll just make it on 0, keep sacking it every time he cycles down to a 1. That's going to add up. Right now, the thing that would stop Zach from comboing would be if he actually just runs out of draws. He's unlikely to run out of mana.
Right. And running out of draws is relatively tough. Most of your cards are at least redraws. With Ichor Wellspring, it's 0 mana, draw 2.
Yeah. Lightning Bolt on Scrap Trawler. Good time for that. Zach, in response, sacrifices Mind Stone. Goes up to 4 colors, targeting Terrarian. And this will allow, with that bolt on the stack, he wants to just get as many more scrap trawler triggers as he can.
Right.
Looks like he's going to go for Chromatic Sphere, actually, instead of Terrarian. Now can sacrifice Scrap Trawler up to 6 colors. I assume we'll be buying back Ike or Wellspring with this one.
Yeah, one just draws more cards.
Yeah,
Pretty
Ike or
easy
Wellspring
choice.
back in. We'll see whether he sacked the Trawler to the Krark clan as opposed to just letting it get lightning bolted.
Yeah, the floating mana has not been adjusted.
Yeah, so I think he just let it die to the lightning bolt. So, okay. We'll confirm whether he has those 2 colors or not. It looks like he let it die to the lightning bolt. So missed 2 mana. That's unlikely to punish him here. Colorless mana is not, as mentioned before, not what this is going to be about.
Yeah, the mana production just gets out of control really quickly with this deck.
Yeah. But right now, without a Trawler, it's not huge what he's doing. And we look at these Chromatic Sphere. This is why Zach actually got Sphere back instead of a better Terrarian. See how he's going to go make a green mana here? He had that Ancient Stirrings he drew for the turn, and he's hoping to get another Scrap Trawler to just keep going.
Right. Yeah, because the Terrarian enters the battlefield tapped, you can't use its mana ability this turn.
So let's see if he can find one. Another Stirrings. He does not. He does find Buried Ruin, and he's wisely preserved his land drop here.
Citadel was the land for turn, right? To get
no,
to
he made
Ironworks.
Yeah, you're right. He has not preserved the land drops. So Ike or Wellspring draws a card. This might be a reload at this point. Zach having successfully kept him off the win right now. 1 more mana floating for Elsik. He could keep going, sacrificing Wellspring, drawing more cards, but it's not entirely clear. Like I think he will right now. Draws into Scrap Trawler. We might be back on for the combo.
Right now, Trawler costs all of the mana.
Right.
You can use some 1 mana cogs first, gas up a little bit on mana, be able to cast Trap Trawler plus something.
Exactly. His hand is, and what I would like to see perhaps from Zach is he has that Engineered Explosives in hand, a second one he's picked up. Make it on 0. Let's start it up. Just get 2 mana so we can start firing off stuff again.
Yeah, the colorless Dark
Exactly.
Ritual.
And now Chromatic Star down to 1. Sacrifices it up to 3, draws a card, gets back Engineered Explosives. And he can definitely restart. So that Engineered Explosives in his hand brings him up to 5 mana. He can cast another Krark Clan Ironworks from his hand to go down to 1. Sacrifice an extra Ironworks, go to 3, get a second Trawler, and now we're getting into very dangerous territory. Once there's 2 Trawlers in play, it's very hard for the deck to fizzle off.
Yep. Your odds are pretty good with just 1.
He passed.
And we'll find out. Let's see if Stempo has some kind of answer to this Scrap Trawler. Because Elsik had to sacrifice those artifact lands, he's not starting from a ton of resources on the following turn. Again, it doesn't take much to get going, but as we see, he has drawn multiple Berry Runes, a few lands in the hand, which don't help you a ton getting off the ground.
Right.
Colligan's command to shock the Trawler, destroy the Ironworks would be real nice right now.
Because that got rid of most of his lands, the thing is that the untap, like waiting until next turn to reset, is hardly a reset. All it gives you is you get to untap your Grove of the Burn Willows and draw a card.
Right.
The most important thing is it gives him another land drop. So that turns that Buried Ruin into something that could play. You know, and it's like when you play Storm, if you don't have extra lands, waiting a turn is actually just one card. That's all the difference is. Bedlam Reveler for the Joseph, though he's trying to crank up that clock. Zach is still at 16.
And Reveler, not really a very threatening card in this matchup.
Thoughtseize off Reveler's not bad.
Yeah. Most of what Zach really needs that isn't extremely interchangeable, already available.
So Explosives or 2 Krark Clan Ironworks are the options for Joseph Stempo.
Yeah, not a lot going on in this hand.
I like the attention and explosives, and that's what he'll do. Try to choke Zach on mana. He used all his lands. This is the way you stop him.
Yep, and redundant Ironworks, they cost 4, so you just go down 2 mana. The effects don't stack in any kind of way.
Yeah, well, look at this next turn. Like I said, I was surprised in the last turn that Zach didn't continue to combo, and now he's actually just short on mana. The only way he can make enough mana to cast anything, he'd have to start the turn by getting rid of Scrap Trawler or Krark Clan Ironworks. However, I believe a Mox Opal was drawn, and if that's the case, that is fantastic here.
That's great additional mana production.
Yeah, it's huge.
So to use the Scrap Trawler in a meaningful way, though, that is a 0, so you don't get anything back when you sacrifice it to the Ironworks. You'll have to commit another Ironworks first, sacrifice that, you get back a 3.
Yeah, and I think that's where you start. So Opal taps for 1, sacks for 2, land makes 4, make an Ironworks, sack the extra Ironworks, get back, I think probably Iker Wellspring, and then go from there.
Yeah, I imagine that would be it.
We're backing up here. Joseph, apparent, accidentally attacked with a Summoning Sick Elemental token. Judge is going to go ahead and correct the board here.
Sure.
Deemed it was reversible.
Not likely to be a significant impact on this game.
So Mox Opal from Zach, 1 mana, 2. Let's make it 4. Sacks it, and we'll go for a Krark Clan Ironworks. No mana floating. This is a line that was available last turn as well, but is going to still be good here. Sacks it up to 2 colorless. Gets back. I think it's Wellspring at the moment. Eventually he'll want to get the second Scrap Trawler, but I think he wants some more lands before that's possible.
Right.
See right now Zach's sorting out his graveyard. Those are the best ones to get back. This is going to be the combo turn. He'll get back Iker Wellspring. Goes back down to 0 to cast it, draw a card. Land's not going to help, but he's still, machine is going right now. 2 colors, sacks it, draws a card, gets back a 1. He'll get back Chromatic Star, down to 1 to cast Star, up to 3. Gets back an Opal, draws a card. Everything, Ryan, this one's going to work.
Yeah, Elsik moving really quickly now.
Yeah.
Pretty much set up here.
As long as Joseph wants to have this happen, it'll work. Starts making some mana with Mox Opal. Here's a green up to 5 colorless. Here's a star, 5 floating. He'll go up to 7, getting back Opal.
I appreciate Elsik cruising through this.
And I love what he does here, where he says, here's my hand. Please, I'll do this as long as you would like to, but I'm just going to let you see what's going on. This is a really sporting thing to do here. You see now he gets back the seconds, converts that extra KCI to another trawler. Because at this point, he's trying to speed up by basically giving Joe perfect information, saying, I have you. Mm-hmm. I'll do this as long as you need.
Yeah, and Joe's seen most of this stuff anyway. Deck lists also face up. This deck a pretty known quantity. And it is kind of cumbersome to commit all these game actions just holding your cards in your hand, so this helps Elsik summon execution.
Yeah. Right, so he's building up different colors of mana here that will allow him to, at some point, if he'd like, to start looping engineered explosives. He could get rid of everything except the Bedlam Reveler. It's not really necessary here. He's just going to win with the combo. He has 2 Mirror Retrievers in his deck. Eventually, that will allow him to just loop for as much mana as he wants. And with his Scrap Trawlers, he can just keep buying back Spell Bombs. That's how he'll win the game.
Right.
The method of victory is not particularly relevant here.
Mm-hmm. And from this much, there's really no way to botch it. I mean, you'd have to just sacrifice your Ironworks for no reason. That's the kind of thing that would never happen in a paper game of Magic.
I've only ever played this deck in paper. Playing it online is a nightmare.
Sounds horrendous. Playing against it is horrendous.
If they're playing online, I mean, I like how lean the kill is in the paper version. Just 2 Mirror Retrievers and Spell Bombs. That is a lot of clicks for Moto. Moto, I might just put the Emrakul in so that I could stop clicking.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at Emrakul mana, so
all right.
We could hang it up here if we had that one.
That was something in the original builds of this. We would see Sanctum of Ugin and an Emrakul in the deck. And it was actually kind of fun. Having played this, you can crack Sanctum of Ugin with engineered explosives.
Yeah. You can make
great.
X as big as you want. It doesn't matter about the sunburst.
First time I played this, I was like, wait, how'd you get rid of that? It's like EE on 7. It's like, how much mana did you pay? 7 colorless.
the worst
right.
demonic tutor I've ever heard of.
Yeah, sack a land, pay 7. Get. So yeah, we right now. Zach did have to go through one of his trawlers, and this was pretty wise here. By deferring that land drop, eventually he instead of like playing the Buried Ruin, he held it the entire time. And you do want to do that in combo turns so that if you draw into Inventor's Fair, you can use it. He will do that to get Mirror Retriever right now.
This one is a good tutor. I like this one.
That one's also sacking a land and paying 4. It's only actually 3 mana less, Ryan.
Only 3 mana
No,
less?
actually 2, because it's 5, right? It's a land plus 4, and the Sanctum can tap. That's only 2 mana different than what I suggested.
That's only the difference between Demonic Tutor and Diabolic Tutor.
Like 2 to 4 is a bigger gap than 5 to 7 when it comes to mana.
That is true. 5 to 7 still not ideal.
So at this point, Mirror Retriever was sacked, and because Mirror Retriever can get any artifact, he's going to get a Krark Clan Ironworks, get the biggest one back because that helps the most with Scrap Trawler loops.
Yep. And tons of mana floating in the pool now, so no trouble casting any of these spells.
Yeah. And this is actually just a loop. Mirror Retriever gets back Krark Clan Ironworks. Krark Clan Ironworks gets back Mirror Retriever. We can do this as much as we want. Each time it loops through, he's demonstrating a loop right now. He says he's going to keep doing that. So sacrifice Ironworks to get back Mirror Retriever. Sacrifice Mirror Retriever to get back Ironworks. He's demonstrated infinite mana. And now he says, also each time I loop, I have an extra Scrap Trawler trigger. I'll get Mox Opal each time. I'll make a lot of red. And then eventually I'll start getting Pyrite Spellbomb each time, and I'll start shocking you. That's going to be the demonstration. Game 1 goes to Zach Elsik.
And wasn't that exciting? And we'll go on to the second pre-sideboard game.
All right. Zach Elsik, 8 seed. He does take game 1. Joseph Stempo puts up a fight, but the clock's not really enough. We'll see. He has one more shot at it, however, on the play in game 2. If he can even him on pre-board games, he's in.
Yeah, he definitely is probably going to need to do that.
We'll see if he can. We'll be right back. Game number 2. Shuffling up here for game number 2. Joseph Stempo and Zach Elsik. Ryan, Joseph's on the play the first game, but was not able to take it down. What does he need? What needs to go differently this time for him to take one?
Thought seizing Ironworks and having Elsik never draw another copy seems to be about what he's rooting for. And there was a window in that game where Stempo, if he had a Kolaghan's command, he would have been able to just demolish Elsik.
He had Thoughtseize into Young Pyromancer. That feels like the high end of what he can do.
Yeah, it's really what the deck is trying to do in general. It's just that most of what the deck's trying to do just does not line up here. Fundamentally, significantly disadvantaged.
A mulligan for Stempo, scries to the bottom. He'll start out. Faithless Looting to start out this time. Does pick up a Thoughtseize. Has Young Pyromancer, Bedlam Reveler, Fatal Push. Maybe let that one go.
Yeah, I think pitching Fatal Push is pretty easy.
And they'll get rid of Fatal Push and Bedlam Reveler. No time for the big card just yet.
Yeah, Reveler pretty slow in the matchup.
Elsik, Terrarian, Mox Opal. Hey, 3 lands, Darksteel Citadel's a nice card. And we'll make Pyrite Spellbomb.
4 permanents, your turn. Just
You know,
good, honest magic happening here.
yeah, in every deck that runs Mox Opal's just the best card.
Yes.
This is no exception. Your Opal hands are better than your not Opal hands.
Arguably the best legal card in Modern.
Yeah, that's just not even close. The only thing that keeps it back is there's about 3 decks that can play it. But
Yeah,
every deck that can play
yeah.
it is just the best card by a lot.
Right. I always want this in my opener. Sometimes I even want 2, even though it's legendary.
It's fine. Yeah, Lotus Petal's okay.
Yeah. Imagine if you could have 2 and they saw each other, so you could like briefly be Metalcrafted and get mana.
Thought Seize from Joe Stempo. We'll see. Mirror Retriever, Ancient Stirrings, Ichor Wellspring.
Not a particularly thought-seizable hand. The Stirrings is kind of the standout here. The Retrievers just play off each other.
Retriever is a terrible card to Thought Seize. Doesn't
Yeah.
do anything.
Well, especially just with 2 hanging out there. They go infinite. Over infinite time.
I think I have a Skirmish Bingo card that says infinite mana. Hey, we I actually got that one this round, didn't I?
That happened in the first
Nice.
game. Yeah, I think that they canceled bingo though, so I wouldn't.
We
I
can't
wouldn't-
wait.
I wouldn't bother
that
checking any
that actually
squares.
happened.
There was a threat that you would win, and that
we canceled bingo.
was never the plan. So
That is such garbage.
just magic now, really.
The fix is on. All right, that is.
Stirring's a take for Joe Stempo. I agree with that. That's another card that's in contention for best cards currently legal in Modern.
Terrarian sacrificed by Elsik. He's going to dig for a land drop. Red-green finds Krark Clan Ironworks. Now he just needs the mana to get up to it. Here's Ichor Wellspring. No more lands just yet. There's one. Grove of the Burn Willows.
Timely.
Plays it.
And we are very close to being set up here. And let's see what Stempo can produce. He's been holding on to a young Pyromancer, I believe.
Yeah, and it's just too slow in this first game for the Mardu deck.
Yeah. Slow and fragile are the 2 big criticisms of a young Pyromancer. This is a matchup where the fragility, not a huge issue, but the speed, a huge problem.
Ryan actually threw. Did you just like throw away the bingo cards because that's why now I'm not gonna be able to win? You got rid of them.
You can't prove that.
What a low strategy.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I
can't recall.
I have no recollection of the bingo cards or where they may have been placed.
Yeah. Flashback of Faithless Looting here for Stempo. That's not a great spot to be, especially when Zach's got a lot of stuff going on. It's getting close.
Hey. He's threatening a combo on the following turn just
Yes.
because the deck can combo when it gets to 4 mana. Now, Stempo has Thought Seized, but as we've discussed previously, this is a relatively Thought Seized proof deck. We've been through a few things. There's an Ironworks in hand now, and Stempo tapping out for this looting means there's no way to get it out of the hand on this turn. Don't have mana up for Kolaghan's Command, even if you have a good window for that one.
And Zach will draw a card off Spellbomb on end step. He's really trying to hit that land. Miss and another miss. Looks like we have another turn to go. Mind Stone from Zach. That will be the mana on the next turn that he needs.
Yep.
And he'll make Mirror Retriever as well. Get another artifact on the board. He's got it set up for next turn. And even if there's a Krark Clan Ironwork, even if it gets Thought Seized, he still might have it. Hand's looking great.
Yeah, definitely pressure on Stempo to have some of those interaction, be it Thoughtseize or Kolaghan's Command on this turn. If he doesn't have that, he's not getting out of this game. Elsik set up with the mana for Ironworks, a few redraws once it resolves. The Wellspring, pretty much a free roll on that. Can actually generate Infinite Storm with 2 Mirror Retrievers and an Ironworks, though. Not really a way to capitalize on that. It doesn't really play as well in the deck.
Put that Grape Shot in.
Yeah.
4 mana from Stempo. Let's see what he's got. Bedlam Reveler, tapping out. That's going to be his last play of this game.
Yep.
Both Scrap Trawler and Corkland Ironworks are in Zach's hand.
Right.
I think 2 Trawlers.
The Reveler picked up a Thoughtseize, but that doesn't play
here. We go. Corkland Ironworks. Let's start it out. A lot of artifacts in play for Elsik. Sacks, Darksteel Citadel, and you see the fact that he's starting on that is a real indicator that he's got it. 4 colorless up. Scrap Trawler down to 1. We have Trawler Ironworks. We have a Mirror Retriever in play. We actually can just...
Yeah, Trawler, 2 Mirror Retrievers, Ironworks, plus a 1 mana artifact.
Yeah, that's actually, he just has it.
Yeah.
It's not, this one's not going to be a chain kill. He can just demonstrate casting Terrarian. Yeah, so he has the 2 Mirror Retrievers, can sack through them both. And he's going to demonstrate a loop. Mirror Retriever gets back Mirror Retriever and Mox Opal. He's going to do that as much as he wants. So he just nets Mox Opals each time. And there's that Pirate Spellbomb in his graveyard. That'll kill him.
Pretty easy.
And Zach Elsik, 2-0. We knew he was a favorite in the pre-board games, and he was. He got both of them, and Joe Stempo needs to run the table.
Yeah, and he doesn't get very much health post-sideboard. We'll see if he can do it, though.
All right. Players are going to go to the sideboards here. We're going to break down how the matchup will change right when we come back. So Joe Stempo can mount a run here. Game number 3. Or at least he hopes to. He's got a lot of relevant sideboard. Start 4 Nature's Claim. Those are backward. Oh, I thought the Nature's Claim were in Joe's board. And I was like, oh, he can blow up the artifacts. And I was like, he doesn't play green mana.
Yeah, casting it would be tough. So, yeah,
all right.
Anyway.
All right, he's got 2 Wear Tear. Yeah, flip those in your head. Don't worry about it. There we go.
Everybody
now
has Nature's Claim.
Great. Oh, they both have Zach's sideboard.
That's not right either. Joe should not board in Nature's Claim because he can't cast it, and it's not in his deck, and he would get disqualified from the tournament.
That's some bad strategy.
So don't do that.
All right, let's talk about what Zach might board in here. Let's
Let's talk about Joe now. Let's talk about Joe. Okay, we have 3 Land on the Void. 3 Molten Rain, 2 Engineered Explosives, 2 Wear Tear, 2 Combo, Console of Allocation, an Anguished Unmaking, a Azrath the Fervent, and a Liliana the Last
There's a
Hope.
lot of good stuff here,
There's
actually.
a few cards that really play. Leyline of the Void, it
Boom.
breaks up all those loops that we've been seeing. Quite powerful.
Leyline's actually hard to beat on the Ironwork side. You need to remove it.
Yeah. Combo, Console of Allocation. Elsik seemed to be casting a lot of spells. That would stop that.
Wear Tear. I mean, for that, it blows up some artifacts. Yeah, I'd even go for Anguished Unmaking. We probably have a lot of dead cards on Joe's
Get
side.
these lightning bolts and fatal pushes out of the deck.
So Leyline of the Void's a lot better against Ironworks now. So original Ironworks lists with the Emrakuls could win through it. They would just make a bunch of artifacts, sack them all, and make a 15. Zach actually has to remove it. And for that reason, I think he's going to go for the Nature's Claims in his board.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, his board, he has 4 Nature's Claims, 3 Galvanic Blast, 2 Defense Grid, 2 Gearport Ether Grid, 2 Guttural Response, and 2 Wormcoil Engine.
Bring
and
in
the
the
other card
6/6.
I like, yeah.
6/6.
Wormcoil Engine's pretty good against a young Pyromancer deck.
It's like the Junding decks, you know, those red-black removal spell decks. They have trouble with Wormcoil.
Yeah. Wormcoil Engine is actually the reason that the card The Glamour from Morningtide was once worth like $8.
Yeah.
Because you played it in Extended because you couldn't beat a Wormcoil Engine.
Now there's another one, like Fold into Aether. No,
Yeah.
it's something into something. They reprinted Deglamour.
Yes. Yeah.
Functionally.
And now it's whatever. Just a piece of history, a story in my mind.
I've had a Wormcoil Engine deglamoured before.
Yeah. I've deglamored a Wormcoil Engine.
That would make sense. You're playing the kill spell and I'm playing the 6-drop. Yep.
Yeah. Everything checks out. It's a very believable story. I also believe that Joe is trying to mulligan so he can have Leyline of the Void in his opener.
If he looks at a 7 that doesn't have any sideboard cards in it, then the games are going to play out just like game 1.
Correct.
I know that's a deep statement. Joe's going to 5.
Yeah, that's good analysis.
If you don't draw your board cards, then you don't play your board cards.
Correct. If nothing changes from pre-board to post-board, then things will be the same.
Right.
Nailed
We're on the
it.
same page.
Nailed it. On 5 cards, it gets tougher to win even if you have the ley line, and
Look,
that's
just
because you're
claim it.
giving Elsik even more time to find that Nature's Claim.
So I got some stuff from our other table, Ryan. Austin Collins on Affinity took both pre-board games, was up 2-0, but has had trouble closing. The Hexproof deck, won game 3, won game 4. Now they're heading to the finals.
That's 2 games so far. That's 1 per
Stony
copy
Silence.
of Stony Silence.
Are there 3 Stony Silences in the board?
There's only 2, but
He's used them both.
they're synergistic. They play well together, so 1 + 1 could be 3.
I don't know if that math on that checks out. Joe, no Leyline of the Void. Here's a Thought Seize. Zach's hand. 1 land, Mere Retriever, Nature's Claim, Engineer Explosives, Mox Opal, so okay, only kind of 1 land, and 2 Scrap Trawlers.
And the hand can't turn the Opal on until there is a second land currently. But the way it shakes up, Elsik's really only drawing to Scrap Trawlers and Ironworks that wouldn't turn that on. This hand is pretty powerful.
I love this from Joe. He's down 3 cards. 2 from the mulligan, 1 from the draw. He says, I need to get lucky here because I need time to rebuild. So he takes the Mox Opal.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
Love
you
it.
can't do anything.
What if you brick for some turns? You don't play very many lands. Now, Zach did draw Darksteel Citadel for the turn, so Joe's going to get max punished for that Thought Seize, but I
Yeah.
still like how he played it.
I mean, what do you take one of the Trawlers? What do you really do to break up that hand is the thing.
Right.
The Opal is probably just the clear best pick.
Yeah. Like I said, the punish, though, Zach draws Darksteel Citadel and then Chromatic Sphere, so not really going to be kept down at all.
Yeah.
Land, Mere Retriever, pass.
Couple mana sources and an Ironworks away from really doing it, but he's
So-
pretty well set up.
Is there a reason that that's better? I guess maybe the other card's Mind Stone. Okay. I was going to ask if there's a reason why that's better than a Bauble plus
The
Opal.
Mere Retriever blocks the young Pyromancer.
You know what? Sure. Yeah, I'll get back Mox Opal. I'm pretty in.
Yeah. There's an artifact in the graveyard. And inevitability favors Elsik. So blocking seems pretty good.
Yeah. At Stempo, no clock. Just has to pass. A little surprised. Gearper Aether Grid in from Elsik.
I think we're getting aggressive with our sideboard. I suppose it's one of the ways you beat Leyline into the Void, right? Just
Yeah.
cast a bunch of cogs and use them to shoot things.
You know how Storm boards and empty the Warrens in basically every matchup?
Yeah, this
Maybe-
seems similar.
Yeah, Ironworks is like, you bring in the Aether Grid because your opponents always have some kind of hate, so
Yeah.
whatever.
And especially in a matchup like Mardu Pyromancer, where Stempo is leaning on Young Pyromancer, Lingering Souls, and Grid
Yeah.
just beats that stuff up.
Chromatic Sphere played for Zach. He could have tried to fish for his land drop. He did not. And that makes sense with the Aether Grid in his hand, just to leave all the baubles in play.
Yep.
Especially if your opponent's only threat is Young Pyromancer. It's like, as soon as I hit this third land, you're going down.
Yeah, maintaining the star means if you just find a land or a Mox Opal on the following turn, you immediately get a grid activation.
Yeah. If Zach just makes grid here, that might just be good enough. Thoughtseize from Joe. I think he's going to have to take the grid.
Yeah, not much has really changed in the hand in a way that makes it more Thoughtseizable, and grid is kind of the standout here.
Yeah, against their Pyromancer and board of 1/1s. Yeah, I don't think he can beat it.
And the other stuff isn't redraws. I suppose Explosives is actually pretty good here. It really slows down the Young Pyromancer, but it's not better than grid in that regard.
Yeah, there's a lot that you have to Thoughtseize, and a lot of draws you have to dodge. It's just not a great matchup.
Yep.
See what he takes. Engineered Explosives. All right. I get it.
Yeah, the strategy seems to be, I hope you don't draw a land, and I get to run you over with elemental tokens somehow.
But the problem is, what I don't like about that, Ryan, is he's not running him over. Zach's still at 20.
Sure. Stempo could potentially have picked up one of those wear tears.
Okay. He'll still lose his Pyromancer.
Yeah, it's not pretty. You get a token for your trouble, and you get to cover the grid, where you wouldn't have been able to do that against the Explosives.
Darksteel Citadel is going to actually turn the Sphere into a green mana, and Zach draws into Darksteel Citadel, so it works out. The Aether Grid play is not as good now that the Sphere is gone. However, Zach's at 20. He doesn't really need to do anything.
The way that Thoughtseize went down, you can read Stempo for Wear Tear, and
Yeah.
I love that Elsik cast Scrap Trawler instead of the grid because he didn't have activation as he had sacrificed his second artifact that would have been untapped.
Well, and also just doing this thing where he's making blockers that are just impossible to attack into.
Yeah, the Trawler gets in front of the tokens in a big way. The Mirror Retriever is still checking the Young Pyromancer.
At this point, I don't want to kill that Mirror Retriever at all at this point. Now with the Trawler in play, that's horrible.
Things are just kind of getting worse all the time for Stempo.
Draws Bedlam Reveler. Passes. This
matchup's kind of horrendous. I think that.
I mean, Joe Stempo needs those knockout punch sideboard cards. Okay, if I put a Kambal in play, we're at least talking now.
That's true. We'd end up in this weird game where Scrap Trawler starts attacking, and you hope for the best.
Another Scrap Trawler from Elsik. Because Joe has no pressure, Zach is just going glacial on him.
Yeah. And even in the face of a combo, Stempo would need to get rid of this grid.
You know when you're playing Control against Storm, and you don't have a win con, and Storm has all these cards, but they just keep not doing anything, and they just draw, make a land drop, draw.
And you're actually really upset that they made the land drop.
Yeah.
Because it means that they have a ton of resources. They can cast multiple spells that start the chain.
Yeah. This is the exact same game, but it's just the Ironworks version of it.
Yeah.
Yes, Zach could be comboing. He's like, you're not killing me. I'm going to not combo. I'm just going to keep making resources.
Attack you with my 3/2.
You want to block it? If you block it, I'll put my entire graveyard back into my hand. If you block it, you'll lose your Pyromancer, and I'll draw 3.
And,
cool.
It looks like that Wear Tear I've been referring to has been in Stempo's hand.
Yeah. Now you're casting Wear on a Scrap Trawler. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm more just like, this is the futility of the situation. Like, oh, okay. Cool.
We still know about Aether Grid. I'm leaning that it is wrong.
Yeah, because now Zach got back 2 zeros, and he has the mana to cast Aether Grid, play 2 zeros, and immediately have 2 activations of it, which I'm pretty down for.
Yeah. I mean, I also don't think that Joe has any way out of this game as the winner.
Clan Ironworks found with Agent Stirrings for Zach.
Above
Just kidding,
average.
we might combo you instead of Aether Grid you. We haven't decided yet.
I can win this game so many ways. It's like a Lightning Bolt Bedlam Reveler of the holdings.
Okay. Zach's at 20.
Lightning Bolt doesn't quite deal that much.
Swing for 4. Trade. Zach's going to More than happy to do this. So when Mirror Retriever dies, Zach gets back 2 more cards. He'll get back Scrap Trawler and Schematic Sphere. He just has 9 in hand now.
Oh, that's it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just the volume of cards, but the variance in strategy, just a range of things he can do to win the game from here.
I got to give Stempo one thing, though, Ryan. If you knew you're going to be playing on camera, that hat is so nice. Look at the cat just staring up at the camera. It's so happy to be here.
It does not surprise me that you view that as upside.
Look, Joe's playing Magic, and the cat's mugging for the camera.
They make a good team.
Yeah. The Scrap Trawler swings in. Joseph's down to 10. But
The grid plan getting a little bit better every turn.
I can't tell if it's getting better or worse. I don't know. All of Zach's plans seem excellent.
I mean, it's better in the sense that if you have to win with the grid, 10 is easier to deal than 13.
Yeah, I mean, you're not
but
wrong.
the Ironworks combo also could just happen right now.
But there's so little pressure that Zach's going to keep playing value Magic. We're just like, all right, make Scrap Trawler, make Chromatic Sphere, 7 in hand, go. Because these all loop. Look, if he Scrap Trawler dies again, it's going to get back a Mirror Retriever. And the Mirror Retriever will get back Scrap Trawler. These chump blockers never stop. Bolt on Scrap Trawler, that's sure. It only gets back 1 Mirror Retriever. That's fine. Opal's Legend ruled. This is not going to stop.
Yeah, and that was in response to the Opal so that Elsik wouldn't have the mana available to crack the star, get the Opal back.
Yeah.
It's a minor thing, you know. Stempo's doing what he can in this game.
So now Zach cracks the Sphere, gets back an Opal, makes a land drop. 1 green's floating off the Sphere. Oh, we're going to make Mirror Retriever again? Oh, this is nice. Remember that Scrap Trawler you killed? And that Sphere I sacrificed? They're all coming back again. And by the way, Zach's still at 19. Game 5. Hexproof mounts the comeback, but falls short. Austin Collins with Affinity was going to move on to the semifinals.
Should have played a third Stony Silence.
He ran out. You need 3 for 3 games. Second top 4 in a row for Austin Collins here at the Invitational.
Yeah, a chance to improve on it as well. It is a pretty hostile top 8 for Collins. But making the top 4 is awesome.
That means Affinity will be waiting for the winner of this match.
I don't think Affinity wants to play against either of these decks.
It's not great. Affinity can race Ironworks combo.
Yes, most definitely. It's not so much the combo as the fact that the combo is backed up by engineered explosives that makes it a problem for Affinity, but it is a winnable matchup.
Yeah. Worm Coil Engine drawn from Zach. Maybe he wants to win that way.
So many options.
Joseph on his turn tapped out for Bedlam Reveler. Well, I left up 1 red. But here's Quarterfinals Ironworks from Zach. Ironworks, Scrap Trawler, Mirror Retriever. We're looking at a loop about to be demonstrated. Here's a green mana. Sacrifices Opal for 2 colorless. Probably make another Opal here. There we go. 6 mana up. Could just make a Worm Coil. Go. That way you don't have to think as much about it.
Yeah, that one's hard to beat.
Sacrifices Mirror Retriever. Getting back Chromatic Sphere, making 2 mana up to 5.
Getting the Trawler back as well with the Retriever trigger.
2 Trawlers, 2 floating. Chromatic Sphere, 1 floating. Mox Opal up to 2, making his red mana. Sacrifice it up to 4. Now it's double buybacks on. Mana's not a problem at all.
It's pretty comical that Worm Coil Engine's mana neutral on Ironworks.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just a big thing for your Scrap Trawlers.
It's just a cog. It's not a finisher.
Yeah.
Sacrifices that Sphere to filter some mana. Gets back 2 Mox Opals. Trawling his way to a 3-0. That's where Zach's heading. Sacrifices a Trawler. Down to 3 colorless. Getting back Mirror Retriever, Chromatic Sphere. Mirror Retriever. demonstrate this loop here pretty fast. This is the Opal Retriever Scrap Trawler. Will make infinite mana with Cart Clan Ironworks. And so if he does this, he's going to demonstrating that this loop allows him to make infinite mana. Then he can use the Chromatic Sphere to draw whatever cards he needs, find a way to win, and win. Here's gear per Aether Grid. And actually, this is a win. If he does this combo, but every time he goes through the combo, he taps 2 cards to do 1 damage, that will deal 10. It is infinite.
Fancy.
I mean, once you have this loop going right, it's an infinite mana, infinite card draw loop. Everything wins with it.
Yeah.
Aether Grid's a flashy way to win with it. I like it.
Right.
But clean 3-0 for Zach Elsik.
Don't make me draw more cards.